What's happening? Happy Friday to all of you. Thanks for joining me as always. Everything Pats, a New England Patriots podcast. The Patriots are favored in a lot of games in 2025. We'll get to that a little bit later, but I want to start with Kendrick Bourne. It is a very congested wide receiver room. We've gone through a bunch of the names, try to figure out who's going to make the team, who's not going to make the team. It's going to be an intense competition in that room. But I am here to tell you, do not sleep on Kendrick Bourne this summer. Don't overlook Kendrick Bourne. He had a good season in 2021. Of course, he had the fallout with Matt Patricia in 2022. In 2023, he tore his ACL after 8 games. And then last year, he had what I would say a quiet return, which isn't shocking given the questions about the offense, the questions about the offensive line, the fact that he was coming back from that ACL. But Kendrick Bourne, I believe Kendrick Bourne could have a resurgence in 2025. A resurgence is 100% on the table for Bourne. And there are several reasons why. Let's begin with who's calling the plays. Josh McDaniels back in town as the OC. And if you remember, Bourne had his best season in the NFL in 2021 when McDaniels happened to be the offensive coordinator. Bourne finished in 2021 with 55 catches, 800 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Bourne met with the media earlier this week. He said about Josh McDaniels, quote, "I had my best year with him. I'm not banking on that. I love his offense. I fit in well with it," unquote. Greg Bedard has talked about how Josh McDaniels quickly realized how Kendrick Bourne, he learns differently than other players. And you have to treat him differently than other players. You know, some guys are visual learners. Some guys are, let's look at the playbook and I can learn from that. Some guys do great with film. Other guys might need help with film. And McDaniels seemed to realize, understand, acknowledge that Bourne was different than a lot of other players as far as learning a system and understanding the offense. And McDaniels really framed his coaching to Bourne in a perfect way so Bourne could pick up what he was putting down. And when you watch Kendrick Bourne, whether it was in 2022 or 2023 before the injury, 2024, Bourne has had some issues picking up the offense. He's been wrong place, wrong time. But we saw less of that with McDaniels in 2021. So comfort matters to Bourne. And Bourne is going to have comfort day one. He's very comfortable with McDaniels. He's very comfortable with this offense. He knows that McDaniels understands how to get through to him. So that right off the bat, right out of the gates, should make Kendrick Bourne better. It should make him closer to 2021. But don't overlook Kendrick Bourne's 2023. Because in 2022, it was a terrible year. We all remember it. Was what it was. Patricia, he stunk. The offense stunk. We remember that. But in 2023, I do think that some people forget that in 2023, Kendrick Bourne was on pace to have the best season of his career. He had 37 catches, 406 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 8 games with Bill O'Brien. I don't think it's random. I don't think it's a coincidence that Bourne had his best season in 2021 in the NFL with McDaniels, and then in 2023, he was on pace to have an even better season with Bill O'Brien. When McDaniels and Bill O'Brien, there's a lot of similarities to what they do, how they do it, and why they do it. So don't overlook 2023, because in 2023, Kendrick Bourne was putting up numbers. He was on pace to have about 75 catches. He was on pace to have over 800 yards. He was on pace to have 8 touchdowns. If Kendrick Bourne finishes 2023 on that pace and he finishes with 75 catches, 800 to 900 yards, and 8 touchdowns, I think we feel about Kendrick Bourne completely differently than we might feel about him today. So don't overlook that 2023. The fact is 2021 was a good season for Bourne. It was his best in the NFL. Then he came back in 2023 and had a very good season through 8 games. Last year, he's working through the ACL. He's coming back from a significant injury. He's coming back from a significant surgery. So when he's had an offensive coordinator that knows what he's doing, here in New England, Bourne has been good. And Josh McDaniels happens to be an OC that knows what he's doing. I have more thoughts on Kendrick Bourne and a resurgence that I think he could certainly have in 2025. But first, don't forget to click that thumbs up, the like button. It helps us. More likes means more eyeballs. Help us out. Doesn't cost you any money. Doesn't cost a lot of time. Just click that like button, whether you're watching live or on demand. Don't forget to throw a comment in. Those also help us. And don't forget to subscribe. The goal, we are far away from the goal. We're about 330 subscribers away from the 7,000 subscriber goal that we're looking at for mandatory minicamp, which is less than a month away. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get back to Kendrick Bourne. The idea that he had that significant injury and surgery, it means a lot right now as we get ready for this season, because he has now been a year and a half removed from going through the ACL. And it's just logical to believe 18 months after the ACL injury, he will be better than he was less than a year removed from the ACL injury. His body should feel better. He should feel better. And Mark Daniels had this post this week when Kendrick Bourne met with the media, and he talked about that. Daniels posted, Bourne missed OTAs and most of the offseason workouts last year. He feels much better this time. Bourne said, quote, I hope to be shot out of a cannon when I come out. So let's not forget about that. It's a huge issue. Last year, he missed OTAs. Last year, he missed most of the offseason workouts. New head coach, new offensive coordinator, new quarterbacks that he's dealing with. There was a lot new going on, and Bourne couldn't be out there for OTAs. He couldn't be out there for the offseason workouts. That's a big deal. To be dropped in, which he was. He was dropped into this offense late in the process, and that's going to cause a lack of confidence. It's going to cause a lack of trust. It's going to cause a lack of chemistry and communication between Bourne and the rest of the offense. So not only is he coming back from an ACL tear and surgery, he's also having to deal with this transition to a new offense, new verbiage, new OC. It's a very difficult transition to make. Bourne, for all intents and purposes, for 2024 was behind the 8 ball from the beginning to the end. Now it's different. He's a year and a half removed from the ACL. He's able to take part in the voluntary workouts. He's going to be at OTAs. He's going to be, I would imagine, a full participant in mandatory minicamp and then training camp. He's going to get these joint practices under his belt. He's coming back and working with an OC that he has a history with. He understands this offense. The OC understands who he is and how he best learns offenses. This is a completely different world than what Bourne was going through last season. And I think he's going to be much more comfortable. He's going to be much more confident, and he's going to have trust. Bourne trusts Josh McDaniels. He trusts that this offense for him can work. He also has confidence and trust in his knee. Every professional athlete will tell you, oh, I'm good to go. I feel great. Surgery's behind me. I've been working hard to get back. They'll say all the right things in front of the media. They'll have all the right quotes. But in reality, in the back of the head, you still have to be thinking. Every time you cut, every time you run, you've got to be thinking, is my knee going to hold up? So there was a lot going on in the head of Kendrick Bourne in 2024. But now he has more confidence and trust that his knee is going to hold up, because he is far removed from that injury and surgery. And so he'll have more confidence running routes. He'll have more confidence making those cuts. And from a mental standpoint, he'll have more confidence that he understands what he's supposed to do. Let's look at the quarterback. The quarterback, by far, is the most talented quarterback that Kendrick Bourne has ever played with. By far. It's not close. I actually went back and I looked at all the wide receivers, all the quarterbacks that Bourne worked with in his past. In 2017, his rookie year, Kendrick Bourne had Brian Hoyer, C.J. Beathard, and Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterbacks. In 2018, Kendrick Bourne had Jimmy Garoppolo, Nick Mullins, and C.J. Beathard as his quarterbacks. In 2019, he had Garoppolo. Garoppolo actually played the entire year in 2019. In 2020, it was back to the Mullins, Beathard, Garoppolo trio. And then we know he gets here in 2021. He's got Mac Jones. In 2022, he had Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, and Brian Hoyer. Now, he tore his ACL in that year. Well, he tore his ACL in 2023. So he's dealing with Mac Jones, Zappi, and Hoyer in 2022. And then in 2023, you had Jones and Zappi, and then it depends on, how much did Zappi play at that point. I don't think he played when Bourne was out there because Bourne got injured in October. So, I mean, you look up and down. You look up and down at the quarterbacks that Kendrick Bourne has played alongside during his NFL career. He hasn't played with anybody close to Drake May's talent. Nobody close. For all due respect, with all due respect to Brian Hoyer, we appreciate you, Brian. But we know Brian was limited. Beathard, Garoppolo, Mullins, Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi. Drake May is the best quarterback, hands down, that Kendrick Bourne is going to have the opportunity to play alongside. Hands down. Now, here's the tough news for Kendrick Bourne, because I do believe Kendrick Bourne is in a position to have a resurgence in 2025. Here's the difficult thing for Kendrick Bourne. Number one, there's lots of competition. I talked about it at the beginning. This is a congested wide receiver room. This is going to be an intense competition. Kendrick Bourne has to beat out a lot of guys in that room for targets. He's got to beat Jalen Polk and Javon Baker and Pop Douglas and Stefon Diggs when he gets back, Kyle Williams, Kayshon Boutte. There are a lot of guys in that room. So it's going to be difficult for Bourne to separate himself from the pack. That is clear. You also wonder how the team is going to handle the wide receiver room. Are they going to lean in on youth? Will they give Jalen Polk and Javon Baker a little bit more of a leash than we anticipate because they're younger guys and they think they could still get something out of them? I don't know. We know that Kayshon Boutte was in trade talks before the draft, probably during the draft. So I feel like Boutte is the one that is the furthest outside looking in because of those trade talks, the conversations, the fact that it was leaked that the Patriots would be perfectly fine trading Boutte. So I think that tells us Boutte is most likely on the outside looking in when camp starts, if he's here on the team. But Bourne, look, there is a scenario that is realistic that Bourne doesn't make the team. There is a realistic scenario where Kendrick Bourne gets traded during camp or gets traded during the preseason. I would not be shocked at that at all. But what I am telling you is, don't sleep on Bourne this summer. Don't treat him like he's an afterthought, because I believe he could have a resurgence. With this offensive coordinator, this quarterback, the success he's had with McDaniels and Bill O'Brien in the past, I don't think it's out of pocket to believe Bourne could put together a pretty good season. We also have to think about the context of that, because there are going to be a lot of guys catching footballs for this team. I didn't even mention the tight ends. I didn't mention the running backs. There are a lot of guys on this roster that can make plays in the passing game, which is music to my ears. If Diggs is ready to start the season week 1, it's going to be even tougher for Kendrick Bourne to make his mark. But I don't want people to sleep on him. I feel like Kendrick Bourne has become an afterthought for this football team. And I could argue that Bourne is the second best receiver on this team behind Stefon Diggs. I could debate that. And so I don't think it would be smart to just overlook him and say he's done. I think there's some potential there with Kendrick Bourne in this offense. If he makes the team, I think he can make some plays. So don't sleep on him. He has the shot of all shots to have that resurgence in 2025. And if he doesn't, if he plays great during camp and they use that to trade him, then that's what they do. But I think he's in line. He's in line. If he gets the opportunity, he's in line to have a better season than people expect him to have. That's how I feel. All right, DraftKings. Did you know that DraftKings has the Patriots favored in 11 of their games right now? I understand. This is way too early. This is on paper. The Patriots could win 5 games. They could win 12 games. We've got to see how camp goes. I understand all of that. And I always give that disclaimer when we talk about these types of things in the middle of May. But DraftKings, interestingly enough, and I saw this from Julian Edlow, who posted, the Patriots are favored in 11 games this season on DraftKings. The win total is set at 8.5. So I figured let's have some fun. Let's quickly run through game by game. I'll give you the DraftKings point spread, and you could see how you feel about it. Again, it's way too early. We all agree it's way too early. But let's look at what DraftKings has to say. Week 1 against the Raiders at home, Gillette Stadium. Do you think the Patriots are favored, or are they an underdog? I think this is a pretty simple one. The Patriots are a favorite. The DraftKings has the Patriots as a 3.5-point favorite right now in week 1 against the Raiders. And, I think the Patriots should be favored. I think the Patriots have a better roster. I would argue the Patriots have a better overall coaching staff. Geno Smith played well against the Patriots last year with Seattle, but it's a different team now. So they've got the Patriots favored against Vegas minus 3.5. Week 2. Do you think DraftKings has the Patriots favored or as an underdog at Miami? I think this one is also pretty easy. They've got the Patriots as an underdog, although DraftKings right now has it pretty close. They have the Patriots as only 2.5-point underdogs at Miami. I mean, if we fast forward to that week, I would be betting Miami. In all honesty, I would lay the 2.5 points. The Patriots' history in Miami, it's going to be in early to mid-September. It's going to be hot down there. I would put my money on Miami in that game. Then back home against Pittsburgh. 1.5-point favorites. Feels about right. Could be a close game, tough game. Mike Tomlin, as we know, during the regular season, certainly keeps his teams pretty competitive. So 1.5 points, but I could see how you have the Patriots as a favorite against the Steelers. I mean, look at the quarterback position. You have no idea. What would be interesting is if Aaron Rodgers does join Pittsburgh, how would that swing that spread? If it was Rodgers on the roster right now, would Pittsburgh be the favorite? I would have to imagine that would be yes. I would have to imagine that Aaron Rodgers is worth 2 points, 2.5 points. Maybe not. Maybe DraftKings would disagree with that. But I'd be interested to see what that number would be if Rodgers ends up playing for the Steelers this year. But right now, they've got the Patriots as a 1.5 favorite. Then against Carolina, which I think a lot of people are kind of looking at this game and saying, oh, this is like the sloppy game. This is the kind of meh game. Nobody's really excited about the Carolina game. Carolina played much better football in the final month or so of the season last year. Bryce Young played much better in the final month or so of the season last year. Carolina could end up being better than people think. Now, I'm not telling you they're a playoff team. I would not say that. But don't forget how they finished the year in 2024. They had some momentum going into the offseason. But DraftKings has the Patriots as 3.5-point favorites. Tough to argue that one. What do you think about Buffalo? Buffalo, Sunday Night Football at Buffalo, Week 5. How big is the spread? We all know Buffalo's the favorite. Do you think right now DraftKings goes double digits? Is it a double-digit spread between the Patriots and the Bills, Week 5, Sunday Night Football in Buffalo? It's not a double-digit spread. Patriots are 8.5-point underdogs right now. Tough to argue that one. At New Orleans, Patriots favored on the road at New Orleans, -3. So they're 3-point favorites in New Orleans, likely playing against a rookie quarterback in Tyler Shuck. That makes some sense because of the quarterback situation. Then they play at Tennessee. Now, this one is going to be interesting with Mike Vrabel's return to Tennessee, Cam Ward, the number 1 pick, going against Drake May, a fun young quarterback battle. But DraftKings has the Patriots as a 1.5 favorite at Tennessee. So they don't care about the road. Right now, the Patriots would be favored at New Orleans. They would be favored at Tennessee. And I would tend to agree with that. I would favor the Patriots right now against those two teams because of their quarterback situations and the unknowns. Then you're back home at Gillette against Cleveland. Patriots are favored in that game. That makes sense. -5.5 right now. That actually might go up if the Patriots get off to a good start. Cleveland, I think their over-under is like 4.5. So I would not be surprised if the Patriots were able to win that game by a touchdown or so. So that makes sense. The Patriots are also favored against Atlanta. They're 3-point favorites. Home game against Atlanta. One of the toughest games of the season is going to be at Tampa. If Tampa's healthy, they're a very tough football team. Todd Bowles, pretty tough defensive mind to go against for Drake May. DraftKings actually has Tampa as the 4.5-point favorites in that game. So the Patriots are 4.5-point dogs going to Tampa. Tough to argue that. I'm actually surprised it's 4.5. You could argue 5.5. You could argue 6. Then the Patriots come back. Home game against the Jets. Favored 5.5 points. Justin Fields at Gillette Stadium. That is also a primetime game. That's Thursday Night Football. That makes sense to me for the Patriots to be favored in that game. On the road at Cincinnati. 4.5-point underdogs. It's a different Cincinnati team later in the season. Joe Burrow, explosive offense. That makes sense to me as well. And then you've got Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football game since that Bailey Zappi Chicago debacle on national television a few years ago. The Patriots are favored against the Giants that night, only -3. That's interesting. The Giants might be dead team walking at that point. Brian Daboll might not have a job at that point. Who's the quarterback for the Giants? Right now, I would have the Patriots favored by more than 3 points against the Giants. That's just me. Home game at Buffalo. So if you're wondering what the difference is between playing at Buffalo and playing Buffalo here in New England, according to DraftKings, that difference is 4 points. Because at Buffalo, that primetime game at Buffalo, you are 8.5-point underdogs. Hosting Buffalo later in the season, you are 4.5-point underdogs. So it's a 4-point difference. Usually teams at home get like a 3-point edge. So there's a 4-point difference between playing in Buffalo and playing Buffalo here in New England. Tied for the biggest spread of the year right now, according to DraftKings, is the game at Baltimore. The Patriots are plus 8.5 at Baltimore. So they're 8.5-point underdogs, which is the same exact spread at Buffalo. So Vegas looks at Buffalo. They look at Baltimore. They think very similar teams. The gap between those two teams and the Patriots being on the road, they're stacking up Baltimore with Buffalo and saying, yeah, you're an 8.5-point dog at their place. And then the Patriots finish the season being favorites in the final 2 games. Even at New York, even at the Jets, the Patriots are a -1.5-point favorite. And then against Miami here in New England, the Patriots are 2.5-point favorites. So the Patriots, I'm surprised that the Patriots are favored in 11 games this season by DraftKings. Again, this is all subject to change. Injuries happen, trades happen, releases happen. When we get to week 1 and we look at how many games the Patriots are favored in, it could be completely different than it is now. The Patriots might be favored in 8 games, 9 games instead of 11. Could be a completely different world. But right now, before the season kicks off, the week of the schedule release, the Patriots are favored in 11 games. Their win total is 8.5. I wonder how many of you would go over the 8.5 wins. I feel like the majority of Patriots fans, after this offseason and then seeing how the schedule lays out for them, I think the majority of Patriots fans would have the Pats over that 8.5 number. I feel like a lot of people would bet that over. But to recap for you, these are the games that DraftKings have the Patriots favored in as of May. Week 1 against Vegas. Then you've got Pittsburgh, week 3. Carolina, week 4. New Orleans, week 6. Tennessee, week 7. Cleveland, week 8. The Falcons, week 9. So the Patriots are favored. I mean, you look at this run. The Patriots are favored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7 games. They're favored really 8 out of the first 10 games. And then you've got the at Tampa, then you've got the at Cincy, then you've got the home game against Buffalo, then you've got the at Baltimore game. Those are where they are the underdogs. So pretty interesting stuff. The fact that you've got 11 games that the Patriots are favored in, and that really just represents the feeling of this team. I think over the past couple of months, we've seen a turn. We have seen a palpable turn about how people feel about this team. After free agency, well, first it began with Vrabel. Vrabel gets hired. People start to feel a little bit better, and they say, all right, they got somebody who's going to run a serious program. Then you get to free agency. Patriots make some really good and smart moves in free agency on paper, and the confidence level goes up just a little bit more. Then you have the draft. And the draft, if you look across the football world, almost universally, the Patriots got like anywhere from a B+ to an A grade almost universally by everybody. So after the draft, people felt even better about it. And I think when you look at this schedule, there's nothing that screams super difficult about this schedule. You have the 3 away games back to back to back with Buffalo, New Orleans, and Tennessee. Never easy to go on the road 3 straight weeks. I get that. You've got the back-to-back with Buffalo and Baltimore late in the season. That's not going to be easy. And that also comes, a few weeks after the Cincy game in Cincinnati. Cincinnati late in the season, a different team. You've got the late bye week. A week 14 bye week is tough. But, I mean, there are so many things about this schedule that I actually like that it heightens my expectations for the team. So, between the Vrabel hiring, the coaching staff, the offseason with free agency and the draft, and now the schedule and how the schedule is laid out, I just feel like there's a lot of optimism about this football team. All right, let's jump to a couple of super chats. Chris Chapman jumps in with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Chris. Nick, comments are pretty much saying Bourne most likely won't make the team / traded. Yeah. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if Kendrick Bourne is traded. I wouldn't. I would not be shocked. But I think he's in line to have a resurgence if they give him the opportunity. I think it's more likely that Kendrick Bourne is on the team or gets traded because he has a good preseason than he is cut. I think Bourne's on this team. If he's not traded, I think Kendrick Bourne's on this team. Javon Baker would get cut, I believe, before him. I believe Kayshon Boutte would get cut before him. Then you've got the Stefon Diggs injury. Is he on IR to begin the year? Is he not on IR? Kendrick Bourne right now is ahead of Jalen Polk. I mean, the only guys that I would put ahead of Kendrick Bourne right now are who? I'd put Stefon Diggs if he's healthy. I'd put Pop Douglas ahead of him. That's pretty much it. Now, Kyle Williams is obviously going to make the team. Mac Hollins is going to make the team because he just signed with them. But I'm talking about impact. I'm talking about production. After Stefon Diggs, who do you have? You've got Pop Douglas and Kendrick Bourne. Those are the most proven guys you have in the NFL. Mac Hollins, I don't know how much he gets on the field. He's going to make the team, but I don't know how much Mac Hollins plays. If Stefon Diggs begins the season on IR, then Kendrick Bourne is arguably your best receiver. Because Pop's a different kind of receiver, right? Pop is exclusively a slot guy. Bourne can move around. So I think it's much more likely that Bourne gets traded if he's not on this team versus he gets cut. I don't think he's going to get cut. And look, I could be totally wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll have egg on my face. And you guys know by now, I'll be the first one to say I was dead wrong about it. He got cut. But I think he has a better chance of making this team than people think. And if he makes the team, I think he has a better chance of producing and having a little bit of a resurgence, depending on targets. But I think he's got a good chance at a resurgence, more so than other people think. But right now, he's on my roster. I mean, give me 5 receivers that you put ahead of him on this team. I can't do it. Now, if Jalen Pope goes out there and looks amazing in the we can always reevaluate the conversation and in the situation in the wide receiver room. But in the middle of May, right now on paper, Kendrick Bourne is one of the top 3 receivers on this team that we've seen in the NFL. Kyle Williams hopefully is better than him. But right now, in the middle of May, Kyle Williams not taking a single snap in the NFL. Kendrick Bourne's one of your top 2 or 3 receivers on this roster. So I don't see him getting cut. I don't see it. Javon Baker, Jalen Pope have to absolutely ball if that's the case. Terry with a $50 super chat. Thank you, Terry. My one prediction is we win against the Raiders. First game and my birthday. That's going to be a heck of a weekend for you, Terry. The Raiders game, I would absolutely favor them against the Raiders. That is a winnable game. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of new, so you never know. But there's also going to be a lot of new with Vegas. Thank you, Terry, for the $50 super chat. Can't say enough about your support. I mean, Diggs, Hollins, Williams, and Chisholm. Mac Hollins is not better than Kendrick Bourne. He's not. He's not better than Kendrick Bourne. Kyle Williams has not taken a single snap in the NFL. Efton Chisholm, he has a chance to make the roster, but there's no way on God's green earth I'm putting Efton Chisholm ahead of Kendrick Bourne on a depth chart right now. There's just no way. I don't see it. I just don't see it. If Bourne's gone, I think it's via trade. But right now, he's on the team. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy today. Weather's pretty nice here in Massachusetts. So enjoy yourself this weekend. We're back on Monday, 3 o'clock for a live stream. Until then, thank you for all the support. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate every single one of you.